You again. So today I will present the topic. It's very important for our Christian disciples is to be saint, the call to be sainthood. And in order to be saints, we need the holiness of God. So before I talk about Saint Martin of the Tours and Saint John Vianney, I will talk about the general holiness in the scriptures, the Bible, the Old Testament, and in the New Testament, and in Jesus Christ. What is the holiness? So I think I will move around. Yes, this is my topic, the generals, the call to the holiness. Holiness is a journey of spiritual growth and transformation. It is about aligning our life with God's will and pursuing a deeper relationship with God. So, what is the holiness? The holiness is not about perfection, but about pursuing a life of righteousness and obedience to God. It is about living in a way that honors God and reflects His characters. That is the holiness. Holiness is not a perfection, but a pursuing life of righteousness and obedient to God. First, separation. Holiness involves setting ourselves apart from sin and the world's ways. It is about choosing to live in a way that pleases God. And the second, consecration. Holiness is a commitment to dedicate our life to God's service and purpose. It is about making our life holy for His glory. We are called to holiness for God's glory, not for ourselves. We are called to be holy because of God's glory. And the third one is transformation. Holiness is a process of change and growth as we are transformed into the image of Christ. It is about becoming more like Him in our thoughts, in words, and in our action. So holiness is following Jesus Christ, is our models. Jesus is the image of holiness, and we, day by day, we are invited to be like Him, more in action, in thoughts, and in words. That is the holiness. So I want to give you some ideas. What is the holiness in the Bibles? And in the Old Testament emphasized the importance of actional rites and laws as a way to show holiness. So in the Old Testament, the actional ways to show the holiness through the laws and the ways. And it talks about physical cleaning, sacrifices, and the need to keep God's commandments. That is the holiness in the Old Testament. External, not internal, right? Keep God's commandments, cleanings, keep the laws, call God commandments. That is to show that's holiness. But in the Old Testament, emphasize the important internal holiness, which is rooted in our heart and our relationship with God. It emphasizes the importance of love, forgiveness, and living by the Spirit. Do you see differences here? In the Old Testament, outside, and cleaning your hands before you eat, and keep the laws and keep God's commandments. But in the Old Testament, love, forgiveness, and living by the Spirit. You see difference? Yeah. So how about Jesus? Jesus is the ultimate example of holiness. He lived a perfect life, free from sin, and offers us forgiveness and the power to become holy through Him. Jesus is the ultimate example for us about holiness. Jesus lived a perfect life, free from sins, and offered us a forgiveness. Lord, forgive them because they don't know what to do. Jesus came and to die for our sin. That is perfect life, right? That's it. You see, in the Old Testament, they emphasize the external. And in the New Testament, they emphasize the importance of internal holiness, forgiveness, love, and living by Spirit. And Jesus Christ is lived a perfect life, died for our sins, and offer us forgiveness. You see difference, the level of right? How about the holiness and the Christian life? The first is conversion, right? Holiness is not just a destination, but a continuous journey. It is something we grow in over time as we seek God's guidance and seek to live in the way that pleases Him. The first conversion begins with our conversion experience, where we turn from sin and accept Jesus Christ, our Savior. And spiritual growth. After conversion, we continue to grow spiritually, learning more about God and striving to live in a way that reflects His characters. And the third one is sanctification. This is the ongoing process of becoming holy. This is a process of being set apart for God's service and transformed into His image. And then, as a Christians, we are invited first, convert, grow up in spiritual life, and sanctification. There are 3 steps to be holy. To be holy. So, obstacles to holiness. On our journey to holiness, we will encounter challenges and temptations. These obstacles can hinder our progress, but God provides us strength to overcome them. And first, sin. Our own sinful nature is a major obstacle to holiness. It can lead us astray and make it difficult to live according to God's will. And the second, worldly influence. The words can be a powerful influence that pulls us away from God. Its values and priority often conflict with God's way. Money, power, and the third one is spiritual welfare. The Bible teaches that we are engaged in the spiritual welfare, that the devil is our enemies. He will use all his power to try to hinder our spiritual growth. The devil's desires, evil doing. We have three obstacles to holiness: sins, worldly influence, and spiritual warfare. So long. Yeah. So cultivating a holy life. First, cultivating a holy life is a process for continuous growth and change. It requires intentional effort and a commitment to living in a way that honors God. Then the first, prayer. Prayers is essential for cultivating a holy life. Is all of us to communicate with God, receive His guidance, and seek His strength. And the second, Bible study. Words God is our guide for living a holy life. It teaches about His characters. Through the scriptures, we learned to follow Jesus. We know who is God, and we follow His characters and His will and how to overcome sins. The Holy Bible will teach us how to overcome sins, how to overcome temptation. And the third one, the fellowship, surrounding ourselves with others believers who are committed to holiness, can provide encouragement, support, and accountability. We are not called to be holy alone. We are all of us. We are invited to be holy together, not alone. For this reason, we need the fellowship in the community, help each other to be holy.
What's the last?
Oh. Yes. The practical step to holiness. There are many practical steps we can take to cultivate a holy life. There are things we can do daily to grow in our relationship with God and live in a way that pleases Him. And the first, confess our sins, seeking forgiveness from God and others. Be kind and compassionate. Treat others the way we want to be treated. Seek God's wisdom. Ask for guidance in our decisions and our actions. Focus on the good things. Cultivate a graceful heart and focus on God's goodness. That's the step to be holy. And the rewards of the holiness. A life of holiness brings many blessings and rewards. It is a path of joy, peace, and fulfillment. The first reward, inner peace. Your heart, in your souls. When we are living in obedience to God, we experience a sense of peace and calm that surpasses understanding. Did you experience about this inner peace? And the second is true joy. Holiness bring a deep and lasting joy that comes from knowing God's love and experiencing His presence in our life. When you are in difficult situations, sometimes we also experience the presence of God. And when we experience the presence of God, it's our motivation to overcome the difficult situation and struggle. Sometimes you have a lot of money and power. Sometimes we could not experience the true joy. But when we experience the presence of God in the church, in our life, and in others, we experience the true joy. And the third one, God's blessing. As we seek holiness, God promises to bless us in many ways, both spiritually and materially. And the last one, sense of purpose. When we are living in the holy life, we are fulfill God's purpose for our life, which brings a sense of direction and meaning. When we are called to be holy. It means we know what is the end of our life and what the reason we are here. We are here to worship God and to love others. That is when we receive the God's blessing, we know what is the end of our life and where we are going after death. That is the reverse of the holiness. When we are living in a holy way, we receive the reverse of holiness, inner peace, true joy, God's blessing, and sense of purpose. That is the holiness. And the next one, so that's the channels for holiness. And in order to be saints, the first step, we are called to be holy, to be like Jesus in our actions, in our words, in our thoughts, right? And to be holy is follow Jesus. Just only Jesus and through Him help us to be holy. Not governments, not the single, or not the singer, not a movie star, but just only Jesus Christ who leads us to holiness. Because we are called why we are called to be holy? We are called to be holy first is for glory of God. That is very important. For the glory of God first. And then right after that, we are called holy to be inner peace, true joy, God blessing, and a sense of purpose. You see? First, for glory of God first. And that is generous for the holiness to be saint, to be sainthood. And each of us here, because we are different from each other, God calls us personally to be holy. God called me to be holy, different from you, right? You are called to be holy in your marriage life. I am called to be holy, to be saints in priesthood. We are here, we are the children. We are called to be holy, but in different ways, right? Wives are called to be holy in different ways from husband, right? Children. Each of us here, we have a purpose to be holy for God's glory. But how to be holy is in different ways, right? So for example, if you want to Boston, right? There are many ways to go to Boston, right? I will choose to go to the Concord and to go to down Boston. And you go to the roads of 101 to go to Nassau and to Boston. And someone go to the Hinsdale and Vermont go to Boston. You see, that's God called you to be holy in different ways. At the same right, go to Boston. Oh, I want to go this way. I want to go God's way. That's your choice. That's God's will. At the same way, I am a priest. Yes, of course, the end of our life is for God's glory. It's to be holy, to be saints. But God called me to be holy, to be saints in the different ways from you. Okay? So now, I want to focus on the Saint Martin of the Tours and what is the way, what is his way to be holy. Yes, So, Albert, do you know the Saint Martin of the Tours? It's very, very, very long and very old history. So the holiness of Saint Martin of the Tours, Saint Martin of the Tours, a rare feature in the Christian history, exemplifies the virtues of compassion and humility and unwavering faith. Born in the 4th century, in what is now Hungary, Martin's life journey led him to a military career to become one of the most beloved saints in Western Christianity. His extraordinary acts of charity, miraculous healing, and steadfast devotion to Christ continue to inspire believers and seekers alike. Yeah, here. So this presentation will explore the life, legacy, and enduring holiness of Saint Augustine of the Tours, shedding light on why he remained in a powerful example of Christian virtue to this day. An early life and military service. The birth is an upbringing born around 1600s before in the Savaria of Pannonia, modern day, now is the Hungary. Martin was raised in a pagan's family. His father, a tribune in the Roman army, named him after March, the good of war. Encounter with Christianity at the age of 10, Martin became interested in Christianity, defying his parents' wishes. He began attending catechumen's classes, laying the foundation for his future faith. And military service. At 15, Martin was required to join the Roman cavalry. Despite his growing Christian belief, he served with distinction, demonstrating early signs of the discipline and courage that would later define his sainthood. So the iconic Glock episode, right? Episode. Yeah. Episode. So the encounter while the station in Amiens, France, Martin encountered a half-naked beggar shivering in the cold. Moved by compassion, he cut his military Glock in half and shared it with the man. And after that, he has divine vision. And that night, Martin has a dream where Jesus Christ appeared wearing the half Glock, saying to angel, "Here is Martin, the Roman soldier who is not baptized. He has clapped me." Right? After he gave a half of his Glock for the poor man, and on that night he has a dream. And Jesus appeared to him and said, "Here is Martin, the Roman soldier who is not baptized. He has clapped me." Right? And after that, spiritual turning point. This event marked a profound turning point in Martin's life, solidifying his commitment to Christ and inspiring him to seek baptism at the age of 18. After 3 years, right? And the symbolic legacy, the Glock became a cherished relic at the Latin word for the little Glock, Capella, gave rise to our modern words chapel and the chaplains. Right after the military life, he turned back his home and his monastic life and miracles. Founding a monastery. After leaving the military, Martin established the monastery of the Liu, one of the first in Western Europe. Later he founded Marmontier's Abbey near Tours, which became a significant center of monasticism. And the miraculous healings, Martin became renowned for his ability to heal the sick and cast out demons. His most famous miracles were raising a catechumen from the dead, demonstrating the power of his faith and prayer. And the contemplative lifestyle. Despite his growing fame, Martin maintained a life of simplicity and prayer. He lived in a small cell near the monastery, dedicating himself to contemplation and spiritual growth. You see, God calls Saint Martin different ways. Episcopacy and evangelization. And the first one, reluctant bishop, in the 371, Martin was tricked into visit tours under the pretext of ministering to someone who was ill, and the people of the tour, recognizing his holiness, demanded he become their bishop. Because the people recognized his holiness and demanded him become their bishop. And the second, evangelization effort. As bishop of the tour, Martin embarked on a tireless mission to evangelize the countryside. He traveled extensively, destroying pagan temples and build up the churches through the world. He destroyed the pagan temples and build up the church. And pastoral care. Martin was known his compassionate approach to pastoral care. He visited every parish in his diocese, annually showing genuine concern for the spiritual well-being of his flock. And the influence on church and state. Martin's reputation for holiness and wisdom made him an influential figure. He often interceded with emperors and officers on behalf of the poor and oppressed. Asceticism and humility. That is the way to be holy of Saint Martin. Rejection worldly comfort. The first step of Saint Martin to be holy, and rejection of the worldly comforts. Despite he aggravated this poison, Martin continued to live as a monk. He rejected the luxurious trappings of a bishop officials and preferring to maintain a life of simplicity and poverty. Reject money, reject worldly comfort. And the second, spiritual discipline. Saint Martin was known for his rigorous fasting, long hours of prayer, fasting, and self-denial. This practice was not merciful of piety, but integral to his spiritual life and closeness to God. See, long hour prayers, and self-denial. And the third one, as leader, Saint Martin led by example. He was known to perform manual tasks normally reserved for servants, emphasizing the Christian idea of the servant leadership. And the last one is resistance to corruption. Martin stood firm against corruption within the church, often challenging all the bishops who saw political favor or material gain. His integrity earned him both admirers and enemies. And death. Yes, I want to focus God. This is the way to be holy of Saint Martin of the Poor, of the Tour. Rejection of world's comfort. The second, spiritual disciplines, and humility in leadership, and resistance to corruption. 4 ways to be holy. You see different. From the beginning of the world until now, the holiness of God is the same, but the way to holiness is different. Each of us here, we are called in different ways to be holy. This is the way, 4 ways to be holy of Saint Martin of the Tour. So this is the death and veneration. So his death is 397, and the middle-aged patient, Martin became the patron of the French as well as the soldier, beggars, and winemaker. Who is winemaker? Winemakers. Saint Martin is the patron of the winemaker. Right?
Wine drinkers.
Winemaker only, not drink. Okay, this is you see, Saint Martin remained a beloved feature of Christianity. His life continued to inspire acts of charity and renewal of faith among the believer worldwide. That is the way to be holy of Saint Martin of the Tour. That is in the old. So now I want to go to another saint in the new one. In the model. So now, as you see, in the past, in the beginning of in very early century, God caused the Saint Martin to be holy in very different ways. So now in the modern society now, we have Saint John Vianney. So now I want to talk to you about the holiness of Saint John Vianney. Saint John Vianney is known as the pure of art, exemplify extraordinary holiness. His life of devotion, sacrifice, and miraculous spiritual gift inspire countless souls. And this presentation explores the profound sanctity of this beloved patron of Paris priest. Yes. So the early life and vocation, humble beginning. He was born in the 1786 to a farming family in Dalily, France, raised in faith during the tumultuous French Revolution, and overcome obstacles, struggle academically, but preserve his study ordained as priest in 1850, despite many challenges. So you know, Saint John Vianney is not too smart. Yeah. He studied very slowly, but God called him to be holy. Right? But the best one he had, that's humility, not smart, not speak too much languages. But God called him to be holy, to be a saint, the patient of the parish priest. You see, not smart, not many, not degrees, no master, no PhD, no NTR, nothing. One example, when we have a test of the Latin class, he didn't know what to do, but at that day, the professor was ill, and then he could not, he did not take the class, and he passed. You see? And assignment to us, appointment as parish priest of us in 1818 began his long line mission to transform the small village. The ascetic lifestyle. This is the way to be holy of Saint John Vianney. And first, fasting. Fasting practice, extreme fasting, often subsisting on little more than potatoes, offer his hunger as a sacrifice for souls. Yeah. Oh, I want to offer my hunger for the soul. Or when I found I go to eat. But when we are hungry, we go to the kitchen to cook something to eat. But Saint John Vianney, he offer his hunger to pray for the soul, to pray for the poor. That is fasting. You see? And mortification, engage in serve body tendencies, slept on hard surface, and wear a hair shirt. Hair shirt. You see, sleep on the floor. Sleep on the floor and wear a hair shirt. So then the third one is poverty. The embrace radical poverty, gave away possession and live in the almost simplicity. Nothing in his room. He has no car. He has no air condition. He has no big house. He has no. Whenever he has money, he gives to the poor. That's the simplest. That's poverty, and prayer. Spend long hours in prayer, often through the night. Maintain constant communion with God. Wake up in the midnight to pray. You see, that's the four things. Ascetic lifestyle of Saint John the Vianney. You see, God calls in different ways of Saint John Vianney to be holy. First, fasting. The second, mortification, poverty, and prayer. That is to show us His holiness. Yes, transformation of us, spiritual neglect, found us in a state of spiritual indifference, few attended Mass or receiving sacrament. Before he came this parish, not too much people come to the church. The church at the first day of his assignment in this parish, the church was closed and very dirty. He went in to clean up everything, and he rang the bell, and the people were surprised. Why today is the bell ring out? So they came and to see him, and from that day, more people come to his parish. And tireless ministry. Priests fervently visited every home and spent endless hours in confessional. He hear confession every time, everywhere. So a lot of people come to him to make confession. I think you should take a tour to this village, our city in France. Very nice. You can come to see the church, the room of confession room. This you can see now. We can come to pray there. So marvelous, miraculous conversion. Gradually, the village became a model of Christian living. Taverns closed with faithfulness, and pilgrim site as became renowned for holiness. Thousands flock to seek the saints' counsels. Now it's very famous. The holiness make this city to be famous. So the sacraments of confession, extraordinary dedication, spend up to 18 hours daily hearing confession, attracted penitents from across Europe. 18 hours to hear confession. Oh. I think if I stay here for 13 hours, not too much people come. So we have a confession every day, every Saturday. Not too much. That's the people in nowadays. The supernature inside. Often new penitents sin before they confess, offer profound spiritual guidance and healing. And fruits of reconciliation, countless conversion and spiritual renewals, many experience like changing encounter with God's mercy. You see, confession is a healing. Devotion to the Eucharist. Profound reverence, display intense devotion during Mass, often moved to tears by Christ's real presence. Eucharistic adoration, spend hours before the Blessed Sacrament, encourage others to embrace this practice. Miraculous events. Witness reported seeing the horse grows in his hand, experience mystical encounter during adoration. The catechist sit on the Eucharist, tireless thought about the centrality of the Eucharist in Christian life. You see, we have 4 devotion to the Eucharist: profound reverence, Eucharistic adoration, miraculous events, and catechist on the Eucharist. So because you are Polish canonizations of 1925, feast day of August 4, patient saint of the Paris priest, incorrupts body, venerables in art, and every year for 450,000 people come to visit his Paris. You see, the holiness is the same all the time, but to be holiness is in different ways. As I said at the beginning, all of us here, we are called to be holiness. We are called to be holy. We are called to be saints, but in different ways. Saint Martin of the Tours, and Saint John Vianney you see, their ways is different. But the end of their life is to be saint, to be holy for God's glory. That is my presentation to you today. So if you have any question, if you have any recommendation, you can share it.